Following up the intro of Josh Pastner, the new UNLV head coach, and he sits down with us. You were fired up today. Did you have anything prepped going in, or you just off the cuff?
Off the cuff. What you see is what you get. I am who I am. Anyone who knows me, who's known me from back even when I was at University of Arizona or in high school or whatever it may have been, they'll say you're the same guy as in terms of energy, who you are, your personality. So I'm a big believer, just kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve, speak from the heart, and go from there. I know I can go a little long-winded at times, but it was interesting when I was in the media. I can't tell you how many times they're like dismount, because I'm ready to keep going.
Sure.
But it was great, and what an incredible opportunity to be here.
So I want to get to the whole Vegas scene and why you took the job. But we talked to Eric Harper a little earlier. You just said off the cuff. When you do these interviews, right? What is it like? Like, what's your mindset going in? Are you shooting the bull? And is it different because you go back with Eric Harper? Catch. People at UNLV.
Yeah, look, when the job opened, the last 2 years I've had opportunities. I've been offered different jobs, but it never felt right in my gut. I just didn't feel it. But when this job opened, I was like, because I didn't just say this up there just to say it. Sometimes you can just say things like this is growing up in the West or playing in the West and coaching in the West. And then, growing up just being a basketball guy, UNLV, it's a powerful name. It's a worldwide name. People know UNLV. And so like I told you at the press conference there, that when I put that polo on, like it's literally like putting a little league jersey on, and you get the hair in the back of your neck stick up and you're just got those chills about you. Like it's a dream job. And now there's a lot of work to be done. I got to get to work and all those good things that with that. But I just knew this was the right time, the right opportunity. And I just felt it something naturally in my gut.
And Coach, obviously, like you just mentioned, you had opportunities in the years past when you're doing media and TV to get back into coaching. It didn't feel right. Besides the name recognition of UNLV and the personal connection, what do you think you can accomplish here with this program?
Well, look, we want to get back to the NCAA tournament, obviously, and you want to compete for championships, win championships. I'll also tell you that the Mountain West is a great basketball league. Got great coaches. Obviously, some coaches have left, so there'll be new coaches coming in. And so looking forward to competing in that. But look, the bottom line is you want to win, you want to get to the tournament, you want to win championships. But it doesn't, you can't skip if that's letter E, you can't skip B, C, D. You do A and then you just can't get to E. So A's got to happen, B's got to happen, C's got to happen, D, and then you get to E in that final part. So it's going to take a lot of work to do that. I have a plan. I have a vision. I've got to obviously deal with our current team because in this day and age, every team loses pretty much their entire team with the portal. So you got to deal with that. You got to go in the portal and recruit, and I got to hire staff. And so you're trying to wear multiple hats and deal with it. And what's interesting for me, because I have so many people calling me and so many messages, I have to keep reminding myself, hey, focus on the three things: current players, recruiting, hiring staff. All the other things can wait in a second, but I've got to get those three things down. That doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but those are the three areas that's got to be completely focused on at all points.
Josh Pastner is with us. On the current players, have you talked to them on the phone? Have you met them face to face?
Well, I've talked to a couple. Look, I know a lot of them are in the portal. I get that, and as I said, that's nothing. Whether a coach, and this is just in general in college athletics, whether a coach is coming back or there's a new coach, most players are going to enter the portal to see where their market value is. That's just where we are in this day and age. So I want to talk to everybody, see what they're thinking, so they hear what my plan, my vision. We've kind of got to get organized on all that. We'll see where everything goes. As we all know that right now, as each day goes by, there's going to be, could be 2,000 people in the portal when it's all said and done. And so there's going to be a lot of moving parts, and you just got to be on top of it. Let me just say one last thing about this, about recruiting. And I know we talked about just talking to our current guys. A couple years ago in recruiting, or 10 years ago, you'd be going after a high school kid, spending, 3-4 years of your life chasing, recruiting, and then you don't get the kid at the end, and it's devastating. What's great about the NIL and the portal, it's a 3-week deal, basically. You're dealing with an agent. You can streamline the whole thing. Everyone complains about it. I'm the other way. I'm like, this is actually for a guy like me who's just very direct, and we can get right to the bottom of it, and it's way more efficient. Yes, there's a lot of maybe issues with it at times, but hey, it's way more efficient, and you're not wasting as much time.
Do you think being in TV the last couple of years and then being able to talk to people around college basketball gives you a different perspective on NIL? Because I feel like a lot of people who are coaching right now they're so mired in it, they just hate it, and they've built up this animosity.
Great words you use, because every coach I've talked to when I was doing games or they would call me, they're like, two things: don't ever get back into coaching, stay in TV. You're so good on TV, you have a great life. And then the second thing, they'll talk about how much they hate the portal or the NIL. But I'm the other way. I think this is a people's business right now. You got to deal with people. I love dealing with people. I get it. It's different. There's going to be things I'm sure I'll be frustrated about. I mean, but I'm excited about it. I'm not looking at this as a negativity. And if you're going to be negative about it or complain about it, it won't work, because this is the way it is. You got to adjust, adapt, be quick on your feet. And if you're having any negative energy or complaining, it's just not going to work. You got to have a great positive attitude. You got to be solution focused and go from there.
So I had a chance to speak to a guy I think or probably remember, a radio host in Memphis, John Martin. He told me a great story about his dad and you. But what he said is Josh loves basketball, and I know Curtis can speak to this. And I wanted you guys to vibe a little bit of how you're a big Wildcat fan. I know that for UNLV people are like, but Curtis played at UNLV, but just knowing Josh and the kind of work that Josh put in that personally.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, Josh, I go way back with Josh because my brother Jason played with you at University of Arizona. You guys played for Lute in the 1997 National Championship, and I was at Indianapolis, and the whole thing, I get goosebumps.
Yep.
You guys, your teams were my favorite teams. But the work you did with Houston Hoops with your dad and your player development, and I was telling Steve before we went on air that how when you were at U of A with Jason, you guys would spend hours every day in the gym.
Yep.
And you said it, and I'll say it. The reason he became a great offensive player and a shooter and had a 19-year career in the NBA is because the work that you guys put in. Can you just talk about your player development and just kind of the basketball junkie that you are and how that's who you've been your whole life?
Well, look, I remember in fifth grade telling my dad, I want to coach. I want to stay in the game of basketball. I remember watching the Lakers Celtics, and I said, if I can't play in the NBA, the next best thing to playing is coaching. And I remember telling my father that as a fifth grader. So it's been in my blood my whole life. And to your point, as much as we talk about recruiting and the portal and the NIL, you still have to develop. You have to evaluate and develop. And guys want to be coached, even though you're paying them. We can say NIL or pay to play. They're getting paid. They want to be coached. So I've had to survive in my time as a head coach, as an assistant, as whether going back to, I've thrived in player development. I call it sweat equity. I deal with the guys. I'm sweating with them. In fact, I'm 47, but I feel like I'm 27. I'm in the best shape of my life right now. And I don't know if the guys are going to be able to keep up with me. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about it. And yes, player development is one of my great strengths. And I'm excited to get back at it with the guys on the floor.
Yeah, and you've had success. Out of your other stops, obviously at U of A with Coach Olson, with Calipari at Memphis that you took over there, at Georgia Tech, multiple Coaches of the Year awards. But the players that you've worked with, what is for you in on-court development? Is it specialty with guards? Is it helping guys hone their shooting skills? What, with guys that are listening to this or may want to know more about Coach Pastner, if they want to consider here, what can you really help them do and help them achieve?
Well, look, whether it's bigs, perimeters, guards, in the end, basketball players. And in this day and age, more so than ever before, a lot of it's positionless. You've got to be a skill guy. And I think part of it too is in my part is also schemes break down. Like in the course of a game, schemes will break down because the opponent has scouted you, but fundamentals don't. And where do the fundamentals start? Is in that individual instruction, in the development. Let me tell you what else. Our teams have to be, an individual player in the team. Our teams have to be in elite cardio shape. Like I'm so big about like being in great conditioning, not good conditioning, great conditioning, the VO2 max, like being able to be in your cardio so you can be at a high level player. This, Curtis, like if you can't play at a high level if you're not in great shape. And so that all starts with the intensity of the workout. And so how you teach, how you develop, how you hold them at a high standard. And look, what you see with me is what you get. You see me today, or you'll see me on the floor coaching, you'll see me in the locker room, you'll see me at the restaurant, our teams will probably are going to mirror how I am and my energy, and that's just kind of how it is. That includes in development.
And for me, this is my fanboy moment now. We'll take it back to your Arizona days. Is there any story that in particular sticks out about you and your teammates or your guys' run during your years there and with Coach Olson?
Let me just say this. The 1997 team, when we won the national championship, it's the greatest tournament run in the history of the NCAA tournament. Only team ever to win 3 number 1 seeds. First team ever to have a starting freshman point guard win a national championship. Because remember, back in the day, freshmen were ineligible. And we beat, to win it, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky, 3 of the winningest programs. They should do a 30 for 30 on our tournament team. Awesome. It was the best. It's the greatest run ever.
Josh Pastner is up with CT and Cofield. All right. How is 47-year-old head coach Josh Pastner different than, say, 34-year-old head coach Josh Pastner?
Well, look, when I took over the job at 31 for John Calipari at Memphis, at 31, not at 41, but at 31, and he was the winningest coach in the history of the NCAA the last 4 years that he was there, ever in the history of the NCAA. So here I am at 31, and I got the job because nobody wanted to follow him. So here I am, the head coach. So I'm a better coach today at 47 than when I first took over. Sometimes I sit back and say, man, I wish what I knew right now I could do it over again at Memphis. We'd be going to Final Fours, but that's part of development and growth as a human being. And so I have a clear vision. I have such a clear understanding of how I want to play, what we need to do, what needs to happen. And I just think it's through maturation and growth that you're going to get better each year, whether it's as a coach or a human being. And I'm just better today than I was. And I'm sure I'll be better at 57 than I was at 47. So, and I still hope I'm the coach of the UNLV Runnin Rebels. So that's the plan.
Does coaching at Memphis, then in the AAC, help you, at UNLV, which, again, these are mid-major schools, but they're powerhouses if you do it the right way.
Memphis and UNLV are similar in ways of the storied history of the program, the excitement, the enthusiasm for the program, what it means to the city, to the fan base, the pressure and the intensity of the job. Literally it mirrors each other in a lot of different avenues in that. So being there under that pressure cooker will have me prepared for this pressure cooker, which I'm excited about. And I mean, look, you want to be somewhere where people care and they're invested, and you want them to be upset when they lose. If you have a bad game, you don't play. You want people to be upset. You want people to feel frustration. I want to, obviously we don't want to have any losses, but that's when you have people excited and rallied because they feel it. They're invested emotionally when it bothers them that you have a tough game or maybe a tough moment, not just when things are going well. That's when you've rallied the fan base.
And they care here. I mean, they care a lot. And Kevin Kruger leaves behind a program that, was on the precipice, about 19 wins a year and 5th or 6th place in the Mountain West Conference. So there's some intensity. I noticed you set up on the day, you're like, it's going to be a long road, and then quickly said, we got to win right away.
Well, and I said a long road, meaning that more from today to where we want to get to.
The long road is like 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
3 months.
I probably, a long road is that we want to win now, and we want to win right away. But but yes, I thought Kevin did a really good job. I really like Kevin a lot, Coach Kruger. But look, I've been there. Sometimes you just need to change. It's just a change of energy. Obviously, he had a new boss. I mean, that's just part of the profession. So I credit to Coach Kevin Kruger and the job that he did here. And like you said, he's had good success. And sometimes you just need a change of energy. I mean, literally, that's what it is. And things happen, and that's just part of the business we're in.
Josh Pastner, one last thing. Looking up your recruiting history at Memphis, I think this should excite local fans. People here forever would love to put a fence around Vegas and get all the Vegas guys. Man, when you were at Memphis, you had a couple of classes. I was looking down. I'm like, he got every guy.
No, we didn't let anyone out of
that. Like, he got every guy at freaking Memphis in 2 different recruiting classes.
No, we didn't let anyone out. We had a complete. No, we didn't call it a fence. We called it a concrete brick bordered wall. Like you couldn't even get around it. Like it was like so. Like they were never leaving. That being said, we want to obviously do a great job locally here and protect home base. So I know that. The only thing is that we're in a different time period because it's, high school recruiting, just the facts of it has taken a back seat to portal recruiting. So I don't want to, say something I can't follow through on, and because there could be some good high school kids locally here, but you're getting some better portal kids. You just don't know, and so it's a different time and place. I understand the importance of local recruiting, and at Memphis we had that thing on lockdown. The only difference right now is there was no portal at the time, and so and I do think the portal, I think you both would agree, has really affected high school recruiting. I mean, it's changed the dynamics of high school recruiting. I tell high school kids all the time, if you have an offer, you might ready to just take it right when you get something, because if you wait too long, most programs now, and you heard Rick Pitino say this at St. John's, he's no longer recruiting a high school kid. He's only going portal guys because those are the guys that can help you. And I want to have a mix, but we want to do a great job in here and protect home base and our surrounding areas and go from there.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Congrats.
Okay, thanks everybody.